Oh, there you are. Wednesday, November the 22nd. Here's what we have for you today. Israeli hostages being held in Gaza will be freed over a 4-day ceasefire with Hamas. We'll check in with Simone Gavos on that.
A business that's been open more than 50 years on Hamilton Mountain is closing.
And Jackie Chan and Ralph Macchio are teaming up to find the next Karate Kid. Oh, we all dried out from yesterday? Oh, man.
Yes. And so foggy yesterday and continued fog this morning.
Yeah, some fog patches coming around the horseshoe this morning, depending on where you are. Some areas are nice and clear, but other areas, yeah, we're looking at the fog settling in around the area and some showers in the forecast for the day today. Showers and drizzle, actually, and that's what we're getting right now. We're getting some light drizzle, so the roads are wet. The temperature is mild, though. We were 8 degrees just a little while ago. The temperature has dipped now to 7. Yesterday we struggled. We got to 3 by afternoon, through late afternoon, and then the temperatures went up throughout the overnight hours. But yeah, it's going to be a fairly cloudy day and fairly wet with that drizzle shower activity on and off throughout the day. As I said, we're sitting at 7 degrees right now. Temperature will start to fall off a little later on this afternoon. We'll talk about that coming up. Right now I want to look at traffic. No reports of any collisions. What we have is just a little bit of volume in some areas, but we do have the wet roads. Here's the 403 at Waterdown Road. We'll flip ahead to Nikola Tesla Boulevard on the QEW, heading toward the Skyway Bridge away from us. Here's the other side of the Skyway. This is right around North Shore Boulevard. You can see the slickness on the roads here. Getting a little bit more fog as you head through Third Line, as you can see. No problems there. But look at the fog here as you go up the 403 toward Burnham Thorpe from the Ford plant. Yeah, it's some fog around, so be really careful this morning with the wet roads and the reduced visibility. We'll look at weather and traffic, of course, coming up in a few minutes. Right now, the news.
Yeah, let's get to the latest developments on the war between Israel and Hamas. Last night, the Israeli cabinet says it approved a ceasefire with Hamas that includes the release of some hostages held by militants. Let's bring in Simone Gavros, who is in studio with us this morning with details on this developing story. Simone?
Hi, Tim. This update is just coming to us this morning. Israel and Hamas have agreed to a 4-day pause of the ongoing war. Now, during this pause, Hamas will free at least 50 of the roughly 240 hostages it's holding in the Gaza Strip. Now, this is the biggest diplomatic breakthrough since the war began on October 7th. The hostages are going to be released in stages, with women and children being the first to be freed. Hamas says the hostages would be freed in exchange for 150 Palestinian prisoners held in Israel. Now, Israel said it would extend the lull by an additional day for every 10 additional hostages released. And the supply of humanitarian aid going into Gaza is also expected to ramp up during this temporary truce. Israel has committed to not attack or arrest anyone during the truce period. And the pause brings a level of hope, especially for the roughly 200 Canadians still in the war zone and at least 1 Canadian missing. Now, Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu says that the war will continue once the deal expires, and the timing for when the ceasefire begins will be announced within the next 24 hours. Annette, I'll send things over to you.
Okay, thanks very much. Well, closer to home, a second employee has died after being injured at Stelco's Lake Erie Works in Nanticoke earlier this year. His family's identified him as Sean McPherson. He died November 14th. On April 25th, he and another worker were burned with what the Ministry of Labor calls unspecified materials. The first victim was previously identified as 32-year-old Gabe Cabral. The ministry says both men worked for Hamilton-based John Kenyon Limited. They say they can't comment further because their investigation is ongoing.
Elementary teachers across the province will get more details tomorrow on a new deal with the government. So the Elementary Teachers Federation of Ontario is set to share more on the agreement covering 80,000 workers. If ratified, it would avert strikes for the next 3 years. The deal comes after more than a year of bargaining. Education Minister Stephen Lecce is urging 2 other unions representing teachers in Catholic and French public schools to agree to contract deals.
Norfolk OPP are investigating the theft of 3 vehicles in a little more than a week, and that's a lot for that rural area. So sometime between November 11th and the 15th, a black 2011 Jaguar was stolen from a property on Concession 5 in Townsend. This is a photo of a similar vehicle. A red 2004 GMC Sierra pickup, like this one, was stolen from an address on Queensway East in Simcoe the night of November 15th. And then a gray 2017 Chevrolet Cruze, like this one, was stolen from an address on Highway 59 in Delhi this week. A popular British food store is closing down after more than half a century on Hamilton Mountain. Opie's Quality Meats is shutting its doors December 23rd. The owner, Lorraine Halpin, owned the store with her husband, Paul, but he died this year. She says the store is just too much for her alone, and it's time she retires. The store is known for haggis, steak, sausage rolls, and Scotch pies, and has been on Concession Street since the 1960s. In fact, it is the longest-running business on that street.
We've made a lot of friends. Customers have become like friends, and I mean, a lot of people right now are just so upset that we're closing the store. It's going to be kind of sad.
Halpin says their bulletin board is full of last-minute customer orders before the store closes on their last day.
All right, no NHL games on the ice last night, so we start Sportsline at BMO Field last night, where our Canadian men's national team was in the second leg of the Nations League quarterfinal against Jamaica. And after being in complete control, they let it slip away in the second half.
And it's in. Improbable, unlikely. The script has been flipped.
And Jamaica's Bobby Reid scored an penalty in the 78th minute, beating Hamilton's Milan Borjan to put the Reggae boys up 3-2. Canada was in total control of this match on their home turf, but allowed 3 second-half away goals, unable to secure their chance of booking a spot at the Copa America tournament next summer in the U.S. This is a very important tournament in the lead-up to the World Cup happening in North America in 2026. Canada will have one more chance to qualify for the Copa in March in an elimination match against Trinidad and Tobago.
Banchero on the attack plus the foul. That is strength.
The in-season tournament in the NBA continued for the Raptors. Didn't look much better after dropping their first game against Boston on Friday on their home court. No magic in Orlando for the Raps as Paolo Banchero would dominate with 25 points to give the Magic the 126-107 win. Toronto was all but eliminated from the inaugural tournament. They have 2 games left with little chance of making it out of the group rounds. They play a regular season matchup in Indiana tonight. Well, let's stay on the court for the ageless one. LeBron James continues to get it done. Last night he would score 17 points, which included his 39,000th point of his career, something no player has ever done before, as he passed Kareem Abdul-Jabbar for the most points ever scored in the NBA last season. His Lakers beat Utah 131-99, and unlike the Raps, that is, doing great in the in-season tourney, sweeping all 4 of their group play games, they're off to the knockout rounds. Although we're still 4 months away from the Blue Jays having a home day to the Rogers Center, it's a bundle of activity. We got a peek at how the rentals are coming along. The second phase of transforming the concrete convertible from what they called a stadium into a ballpark underway. Last offseason, they focused on the outfield, adding a number of new elements that turned out great. This offseason, it's all about the lower bowl and the 100 level, adding seats designed for baseball along with various new seating options and rebuilt locker rooms and training facilities. It will be completed for the home opener on April the 8th. And let's finish on the soggy gridiron at Corpus Christi High School as Bishop Tonus Titans and Corpus Christi Longhorns facing off in a rainy afternoon, vying for a chance to advance to the Ontario Finals coming up. Despite falling behind 10-0, the Longhorns, they made the comeback and beat the visiting Titans 16-15 in a tight affair. So it is Corpus Christi off to the OFSA Bowl Series next weekend in Windsor.
It is 6:09 and it is the 22nd morning of November, and we're looking at traffic first, then we'll get to our forecast. Traffic, no problem with vehicles, and as far as volume is concerned, just the wet roads and the fog this morning. Here's the 403 and Waterdown Road. Nothing to see there. Looks pretty good at the moment. To our MTO traffic cameras. Looks pretty good here, actually, at the QEW at Welland, both volume-wise and weather-wise. Nothing there. Getting a little wetter here at Nikola Tesla Boulevard, but still moving nicely. East of Brant Street, no problems. Here's the QEW at the Ford plant. Now you start to see a little more visibility issues with the fog in the distance there, and we'll dip into the QEW at Etobicoke Creek, generally moving fairly nicely. We are getting some, as I said, some light drizzle right now in the area and some fog patches. So let's check our temperature at the moment. Temperature, it was 8 last hour. Now we've fallen to 7, and that's pretty much where we'll stay for most of the day today. The relative humidity right up there. The winds are fairly light from the southwest, and there is that light drizzle. Today, air quality in the low risk category, so no problems at all there. And for school today, yeah, we could get some showers, some light drizzle, and that temperature is going to stay around 7 for most of the day and then start to drop off a little later on. That low pressure system, that gave us almost 13 millimeters of precipitation yesterday. It was a wet day, and it was cool. We only got to about 3 by later in the afternoon. It was overnight that the temperature went up, so we're going to stay fairly cloudy. There's that chance of drizzle, and then a trailing cold front is going to come through, drop the temperatures as we get toward the weekend. But today, 6 and 7 degrees for the Horseshoe, a little cooler away from the lake, Brantford, Kitchener, and Guelph, but showers, drizzle, on and off throughout the day. Tonight, temperatures fall back a little bit cooler. 1, 2 degrees, 0 for some areas like Peel, Guelph, and Kitchener. And then tomorrow, we're looking at a bit of sunshine. Yay, we'll get back into some sun. And temperatures actually around seasonal, 4 to 6 degrees for the day tomorrow, 3 for Guelph and Kitchener, as you can see. And at least we'll kick away the precipitation. So out the door, 22nd of November, light drizzle. It is mild. Temperature right now sitting at 7. And we'll look long range, of course, coming up. Annette, Tim.
There's our friend Emily.
Hello. Hi, good morning.
Hi. What are we doing today?
Well, it looks like Axel Foley is returning.
Yeah.
Beverly Hills Cop 4. We're going to talk about Eddie Murphy reprising his role coming up.
There's 4? So this will be number 4. I only know the first 2. What's the third one?
I think the third one takes place at an amusement park.
Oh, does it? Okay.
It's not as funny, I don't think. Like, he wanted the character to seem a little bit more grown up. Okay. And it just didn't fly.
Like, one of the... We'll get into this over on the couch, but like Beverly Hills Cop 2 is one of those great sequels, because it's never a great sequel, but that is a good one. Really good one.
Pulled it off. He pulled it off.
See you on the couch in about a half hour.
I'll be there. All
right. Coming up after the break, you'll never guess who is the new CEO for OpenAI. Here's the numbers for you on this Wednesday. Canadian dollar down 6 basis points this morning, sitting at 72.93 cents US. No change for gold. Crude oil down 6 pennies, 77.17 a barrel. Let's go off to Europe. English, please, Tim. Good morning, Europe. Trading markets are down in London, but up in Frankfurt and Paris.
In Asia, the markets were up today in Tokyo and Hong Kong, but down in Shanghai. Checking North American markets, the TSX lost 137 points. The Dow dropped 63. The Nasdaq also down by 85.
Well, get your popcorn for the next chapter of the OpenAI drama. What a week for the CEO of the artificial intelligence company OpenAI. After being ousted by his board on Friday, then picked up by Microsoft on Sunday, Sam Altman is now back where he started. Hundreds of OpenAI employees reportedly threatened to leave if the company's board didn't resign and reinstate Altman as CEO. Altman said in a post on social media platform X that he has Microsoft's support for his return. OpenAI confirmed last night that he'd be returning and that a new interim board had been selected. Altman added earlier this morning that he was looking forward to working with the new board and that everything he's done over the last few days has been in service of keeping the team and mission together. Would you fight for me like that, Annette?
I sure would. I sure would. Well, the billionaire founder of the world's largest cryptocurrency exchange has pleaded guilty in the States to money laundering.
The message here should be clear. Using new technology to break the law does not make you a disruptor. It makes you a criminal.
Settlement calls for Binance to pay more than $4 billion in fines and penalties. Binance's CEO, Changpeng Zhao, has also agreed to step down. U.S. federal prosecutors accused Binance of a calculated effort to profit from the U.S. market, steering clear of American laws. In the settlement, Binance admitted to money laundering and unlicensed money transmitting. U.S. authorities say this is the largest corporate resolution to include criminal charges against an executive.
Bell Media owner BCE wants Canada's federal broadcasting regulator to create a news fund that would give money to broadcasters. Bell representatives told a CRTC panel yesterday that foreign streamers would be required to contribute to the fund through their Canadian content spending. They also said the CRTC should exempt Canadian streaming platforms like Crave from these new obligations until traditional broadcasters get regulatory relief. The hearing is set to last 3 weeks and is part of the regulator's public consultations in response to Bill C-11, the Online Streaming Act.
The NFL and the U.S. government are sticking with Elon Musk. The NFL says it will not stop advertising on X over Musk's seeming support of anti-Semitic statements, and the government is too dependent on Musk companies to cut ties. So last year, the United States had 78 successful space launches. Musk's private space company, SpaceX, was responsible for 61 of those launches. The Pentagon also has a contract for up to $1.2 billion to send spy satellites into space, while investing up to $70 million in Starshield. That's a more secure version of Musk's consumer Starlink internet. And NASA is spending about $4 billion on the SpaceX Starship because it will be the lunar lander of their Artemis program.
The United Auto Workers Union south of the border, they made massive gains for their members this year. And the president of the union says that he wants to expand their numbers. Entering contract talks with Detroit's 3 automakers, Sean Fain set lofty expectations for what he could gain and delivered on many of them. He secured significant pay raises, improved benefits, the right to strike over plant closures, and a raft of other concessions. Now, Fain has set his latest ambitious goal to gain UAW membership in non-union companies across the industry, from foreign automakers with U.S. operations like Toyota to EV makers like Tesla to EV battery plants.
Several U.S. states in the north are preparing to stop an invasion from Canada of wild pigs. They cause about $2.5 billion in damage to U.S. crops every year, mostly in states like Texas. But an exploding population of these feral swine on the prairies, our prairies, is threatening to spill south. Worse, wild pigs roaming Alberta, Saskatchewan, and Manitoba are often crossbreeds that combine the survival skills of wild Eurasian boar with the size and high fertility of domestic pigs. These hybrids have been dubbed super pigs, and many are worried as their populations have spread out of control. The next thing to worry about.
So what?
Oh, very good. You're hamming it up.
No.
Okay, I got a laugh from Brian.
But I think the laugh started with mine
I think it
and
did.
then continued into yours.
Well done.
All right, off we go into this 22nd morning of November, 23 minutes after 6 o'clock. We do have wet roads this morning. You can see that here at the QEW in Mountain in the Niagara area. Very busy now as you come off the Skyway Bridge going past North Shore Boulevard toward Fairview. Again, starting to build here at Third Line, Toronto bound towards us. Wet roads all the way through Lorne Park. And look at the fog here at the 403 at Burnhamthorpe. So depending a lot on elevation, you're going to see some fog this morning, depending on where you are. Be really careful, because look at the temperatures that we have at the moment. 7 degrees to start. Yesterday morning at this time, we were -1. So what a difference today. That mild air is really flooded in. 7 for Hamilton, Grimsby, Toronto, 6 into Mississauga. Seasonals for this time of year, 5 for the daytime high. We struggled yesterday. Yesterday, we only had about 3 by late afternoon, and then the temperatures went up. -2 for the overnight. Those are our sun times and records for today. And for school today, yeah, again, going to be fairly wet, drizzly, showery as the day progresses, but 7 for the first spell. Temperature's going to fall later on this afternoon. We could hit 3 by the time it's after school. So today there's that high of 7, but temperature coming down slowly. +1 overnight tonight, so we stay on the mild side. Tomorrow we'll see some sunshine coming back. Temperature around seasonal, maybe a little shy, but 4 degrees tomorrow, 3 on Friday. Temperatures get cooler for the weekend, Saturday and Sunday, and the sunshine sticks around for our last weekend in November. That's your forecast. Annette, Tim.
I'll do the intro and you get to read.
Sure.
Let's do that.
Sure.
Because this is like a little preview to Feel Good Time coming up next hour.
Oh,
okay. This is a really rare moment, to be honest.
Zookeepers at the Chester Zoo in the UK filmed the birth of an endangered eastern black rhino.
Oh, maybe it doesn't not feel good.
Okay, well, it's feel good because the little rhino is good and healthy. So this is a rarity in itself because eastern black rhinos are usually inactive at night. It's even more special because, oh, look at that. This animal is facing extinction because of illegal poaching. Experts say there are fewer than 600 of these in the wild. Mom delivered the female calf a little bit earlier this month after a 15-month pregnancy.
Really?
And zookeepers say the pair are now inseparable. Oh, they are so cute.
Aren't they?
Oh, just boop, boop, boop.
Yeah.
Hey, Mom.
Where are you going, Mom? Yeah, this takes me back to like on the farm when I didn't do it. I was witnessing.
You raised rhinos?
Yeah, we had a rhino farm, Kenilworth. Yeah, big rhino area. Calves,
yeah.
Beef cattle. Anyways. Okay, that's the first half hour. Oh, that was pretty good. Hopefully you liked it. Maybe come back for a second, please.
We're doing plenty more.
Please. Does it seem desperate if I'm begging them to come back?
No, it's not.
Okay,
No, it's not.
Good.